Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening, and welcome to Know Your Purpose. I'm Dr. Stacy Venable. Today, we're just going to do some quick housekeeping things here. We're going to throw out a disclaimer, and our disclaimer is very easy, nothing hard. The content that we will be sharing tonight is our own views, our own options, our own opinions. We're not in any way we do not want to embark on anyone's purpose or anything that they have going on. So this is just us sharing information, intel, knowledge for you to gain tonight. So if there's anything that you take from this that you don't want to have happen, just throw it out the window. If there's things that you want to keep, go get that pen, go get that paper, and let's write down some things, because tonight we're going to be dropping some serious nuggets on you tonight, so that way you can keep in your input file. So again, my name is Dr. Stacy Venable, and we're here at the Business Suites of Brass Mill in our podcast studio. Tonight we want to welcome Kimberly Branch. This is let me tell you, we met Kimberly about a year or so ago, and she's been rocking with us ever since. She's going to throw out some things tonight that's going to help us keep our business financials balanced within our purpose. So she's going to throw out a lot of great nuggets tonight. Kim, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So my name is Kimberly C. Branch. You can find a lot of Kimberlys on Google, but I am Kimberly C. Branch. And I originally started my entrepreneurial journey at a very young age. I used to charge my friends to come into my backyard and play with my toys.
She said she started financial literacy
early. And so more recently, I started an IT company bit by bit. And then after that, I transitioned into income tax preparation and developing strategies to help businesses make sure they stay above board or in the black, for lack of a better word. Yes.
So those are some of the things that we do here at the Business Suites of Brass Mill. We also try to keep small businesses and small entrepreneurs on the track of of creating their purpose, but along with creating their purpose, also staying financially legit in their purpose.
Absolutely.
Because without that, there's no reason for you to walk into this entrepreneurship.
I like financially legit.
Yes, and let me tell you,
I might have to put that on a t-shirt.
Financially legit. Let me tell you, and I'm going to talk about this tonight, because that was one of the things when I first started my first business. I'm thinking to myself, oh my goodness, here we are. I'm starting my own business, and I had not a clue about how this thing really, really works.
Absolutely.
And then as I literally started trying to figure out how it works, getting my EIN number and all that stuff, there I didn't know about all the things that I had to keep, all the documentation,
absolutely,
all of the receipts, and then income tax time came.
Honey, yes, indeed.
And then I really didn't know what I was doing then. And I think if we bring more financial literacy to people, even if you're just thinking about starting a business, even if you have a business right now, tell us some things that we can do to keep our purpose lined up with the financial aspects of what we're doing in business.
So one thing to keep in mind is that when you are starting your business or building your business, your goal is to make money.
Absolutely.
Right. You don't go into business because you want to make a few dollars. We're talking about people who are serious about going into business to, number one, meet their purpose. But in doing that, you want to make money. And there's a passage in the Bible that says, render to Caesar that which is Caesar's. So absolutely, taxes have to be paid. So when you are starting your business, you want to start it on the right foot from the very beginning. That means a lot of people feel like, oh, well, I'm just getting started with baking cakes. So somebody told me that I can just bake some cakes and just throw that income on a Schedule C. Well, what you don't understand is that Schedule C may cause you to pay more taxes. Although it's a small enterprise in the beginning, if you don't set it up properly in the beginning, you will be responsible for paying a higher rate of taxes. So what I encourage people to do is, number one, build your team. You got to have certain people.
That support team is so important. Having that structure in line is so important. And how many people literally, I remember a lady came to me and she was starting her t-shirt business.
Mhm,
And she was like, I'm not, I'm just doing t-shirts.
mhm.
But I said, listen, at the end of the day, the federal government wants a piece of what you're doing.
They want their
So
piece.
she literally had started her EIN.
Mhm.
She had not registered. She literally she missed a few steps.
Yes.
And then she went on that whole year.
Mhm.
And then that next year she said, well, a red light went off and I needed to do these. And she was so behind.
Yes.
Because she didn't get started properly.
Yes.
So that's one of the things that I want to really put out there tonight, that the first thing about business is just starting it right.
It's about starting it right. You have to do things in decency and order. When
Yes.
you have the proper team,
Mhm.
you can speak to people about what are those steps. Another example is that we have a lot of people who start nonprofits and don't realize that there are forms that need to be filed.
Yes.
Annual forms that need to be filed, and some people lose their status as a nonprofit.
Yes.
So you have to build that team. You need to have your coach. You need to have an attorney. You need to have an accountant. You need to have an income tax preparer. Not all accountants know how to do taxes. Not all accountants know about
That's a nugget for tonight.
That's
a nugget for tonight. Not all accountants know about taxes.
Yes.
And those about 5 entities that she named are very important. The first thing that I did once I revamped, because I was one of those people also who were starting these businesses and didn't know. But the first thing I did is I got a business coach.
Yeah, you have to have that
tool. And I was one of those people, Kim. I thought I knew it all. And I'm like, okay, I know how to do this. It's not that hard. Google is a search engine. I know how to do that. I know how to Google. Yes. I know what I'm doing. And then all these things come up. So I sat there and I read all this stuff, and come to find out I was doing it absolutely wrong. And the first thing that I needed to do was look for a business coach. And then that business coach started the ball rolling for me the right way.
Exactly.
Now, I was one of those stubborn people. Had I listened to everything that he told me, the road would have probably been a lot easier.
It'd have been an easier road.
And then I went and as I wrote my business plan, I kept going back and forth, taking it to my attorney.
Yes.
Because I wanted to make sure what I was doing was correct. That's more money that I was putting out. So I'm thinking, oh my goodness, I'm spending all this money up front. There are fundings that you have to spend up front.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. There are things that you need to pay for. And when I offer my advice, I offer it from experience.
Yes.
Experience.
About that word, experience.
I did not start my business. The advice that I'm giving now is learned advice. I jumped in with the Schedule C. Didn't have a solid team. So when you don't take those steps and when you don't put that money out up front, and keep in mind, when that money goes out, don't think of it as money that's just tossed to the wind.
Yes.
Because it's not. Number one, it can be used as deductions on their business expenses.
Yes.
So you can write them off on your income taxes. So it's not like it's money that's just going to be lost. And in addition to that, when you spend that money up front with the proper building of the proper team, then they also end up saving you money.
They do. I have been saved a ton of money. One thing that I had to do is I had to change my mindset going into my purpose. I had to make sure that everything was aligned as I went into my purpose. And again, let's talk about that Schedule C, because a lot of people don't even know what that is.
So the Schedule C, most people are familiar with the 1040. That's the form that you file for your income taxes. Generally, if you are head of household or something like that, your taxes are filed with the 1040.
Yes.
And that's where you account for the money that you make as an individual. The money that you make as a business in your side hustle or your my little thing on the side, that income is reported on a Schedule C. So that's an additional form, and you can, oh my word. Now, when you use a Schedule C, I'm going to be very transparent. There are several deductions or expenses that you can take advantage of. If you work from home, you can use you can put that on your Schedule C. It's a work from home part of the Schedule C that you business use of home, I'm sorry, that you would capture that information. You can capture the expenses from your vehicle if you use your car in an act of creating the income that you're reporting on that Schedule C. You can use that as well. Your other expenses that are, your pencils, your pens, your computer, your service, your internet service, the person who comes in to service your computer, your, any expense that is related to the earning of the money that you are reporting goes onto a Schedule C. Now, most people think, oh, I can just keep track of my pens, pencils, and my paper and put that on a Schedule C. But there are other things such as the business use of home, things that are amortized in your car that requires a little bit more detail, a little bit more knowledge. So if you are one who is using the Schedule C, don't leave that money on the table. Feel free to reach out to your income tax preparer. Make sure that they're taking advantage of those deductions. And if you don't have someone that you trust, you can always feel free to make an appointment with me.
She's available. She's available. This is her season.
This is her
time. Another thing that I wanted to bring up too is as you spoke about just a few minutes ago, is having that team. Because when you are starting your business and you have that consultation with your accountant or with your tax preparer, they'll let you know what you should be doing and what you should be writing down and what you shouldn't be taking and what you should be taking. I literally, when I started my business, there I was with that Google search. I was trying to figure out what all the things that I could put on my taxes and the things that I couldn't put on my taxes, because at this point now I'm personal and business.
Exactly.
So when you're personal and business, you have to do two separate here.
Yeah.
See, a lot of people don't know that either.
Yeah, so that's a nugget.
That's a nugget. You're two different entities.
You're two different entities.
So another thing that I think when people are incorporating LLCs, let's talk about what an LLC is. As far as the tax preparing and the different things, because we talked about the nonprofit just a minute ago. So I have some clients who are LLCs. Let's talk about that.
And so with the LLCs, one thing that's the major difference is, I'm sorry, I was going to say S corp, but the LLC is a limited liability corporation or partnership along those lines. And so those are different. Let me think the exact form. That is a schedule. I can't remember. I can't remember, but it's a whole different tax form that you would have to fill out. And just a shameless plug, I have a partner that I work with. Her name is Yvonne Bellamy. We are both under Bellamy Tax Services. She is the LLC expert. I'm more the Schedule C. She's the LLC.
We're definitely going to have to get some for her, because again, I have a lot of people who come into my office and they're like, I'm an LLC. And I'm like, well, do you know what that means? Do you know what it consists of? And why did you choose that?
Right. And some people feel that they get better tax breaks or benefits with the LLC. And everybody's situation is different. That's why it's so important to talk to a professional about it. Some people form LLCs and that's not even really the right way that they want to go.
Exactly. And in the long run, it winds up you're doing more. You're doing more work than what's necessary.
Exactly.
And that's one of the things when again, that's why you need a great business coach. When you everybody's created with a purpose.
Yes.
So when you find out that your purpose is to, I'm going to use bake cakes. You find out your purpose is to bake cakes, then you, at that point, you need to write down your business plan at this point. When you write down your business plan, it could be just easily as the direction you want your baking cakes to be. Maybe you only want your baking cakes to be for Sundays for church.
Yes.
Maybe you want it to be just for birthday parties. Maybe you just want it to be just for a hobby. You need to come with that business plan. Then you need to find a great business coach that's going to set you in the right avenue. Because most of the time, along with the business coach, she or he has already built a team of people that are accountants, that are tax preparers, people that are already trustworthy. So as you're building your purpose in this business, you have to have that support team, as you spoke about already.
And another thing about the business plan, it's going to give you a really hard look at your numbers.
Exactly.
It's going to give you an idea of how much it costs to execute, whether baking cakes or provide the service of teaching people how to bake cakes. It's going to let you know how much money you can expect to bring in. And it's also going to let you know whether or not it's feasible, whether or not you can actually build a financial foundation with whatever that business idea is. So the business plan, and the business plan does not have to be 200 pages
No, it
anymore.
does not. No, it does not. My business plan was not 200 pages. But one thing that you just hit upon, is it financially feasible for you to have this as a business, or is it just financially feasible to say on Sunday I'm just going to sell a cake?
Yeah.
You have to, because a lot of things go into just you baking that cake.
Yeah, absolutely.
So is it going to be financially feasible? Does it fit within your income tax bracket? Does it fit where you need to be?
Or is it just a hobby?
Or is it just a hobby? That's one of the things that I want to talk about. A lot of people that have come into the business suites of Brass Mill have come in with thinking this is a business entity, and then at the end of the whole thing, they realize it was just a hobby.
It's just a hobby.
So some people come in, and then we have plenty of people that are state. You know, we're well into our hundreds of people that have come through Brass Mill.
Oh, absolutely.
And we've retained half of those, which is a great thing, being as though that we had COVID. So we've retained half. But I want to say at least 10% of those people, it was just a hobby.
It's just a hobby. And people
So you have
don't
to know the
understand
difference.
that. You have to know the difference. What effort is going into earning that income, and then what expenses are going out in as it relates to that income. And so that is really going to give you the idea of whether or not you have a hobby or whether or not you actually have a viable enterprise.
And the problem that I see with some of the people that come back and forth, you know, they want, after they get into the line of business, they literally forget to keep the maintenance of the business.
Yes.
Can you elaborate a little bit on that? Like what I mean by the maintenance of the business. There are things that have to be renewed.
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
There are things that have to be paid for again.
Yes.
One of the young ladies just came in the other day and she was like, no, I know I'm good. I'm good. And I said, well, you know, did you go ahead and make sure that you were legitly filed with the state and legitly filed with the, oh my goodness, that she missed one step.
And missing one step could basically bring down the whole operation.
It can bring down, I have seen it. I have seen it, Kim.
It can bring down the whole operation. Number one, I cannot stress enough the importance of filing your income taxes.
Yes.
You can lose so much from not filing your taxes. If you have certain certifications or licenses or contracts even, it can prevent you from getting certain contracts. You have to file your taxes. And the thing is, you want to, when you are operating in your purpose, you can get so focused and so caught up on the baking of the cake that you forget about the back office stuff that you have to attend to. And we talk a lot about having the team, but you also have to have some basic knowledge or basic understanding, because if you've put the wrong team members in place, for example, with nonprofits, if you've put the wrong team member, maybe your cousin does taxes, so you decide you're going to let her handle your taxes. Well, if she's not familiar with the forms that need to be filed annually,
I've seen that happen as well.
Then and if you don't know those forms need to be filed annually, then you could find yourself losing your footing. So while you don't have to know everything about income taxes, there are some basic things you should know. You should know basically, number one, how to record what is coming in. Even if in this day and age, there are so many apps and so many programs, you could use one of those. But if you're not comfortable, even if it's just your notepad and a piece of paper, this money is coming in, this money is going out. I know that I have to give these expenses. I have to look at these expenses. Am I making enough money to even support these expenses? Is it a certain time of year where I'm making more money? Do I need to relook at my pricing? Is my pricing on point? Maybe I'm not priced right. And so my expenses are outweighing my income, and now I'm finding it hard for me to stay afloat.
Yes.
So you have to have a really good understanding of your industry. You have to have a really good understanding of your pricing. You have to know whether or not you have the tools in place to scale. Excuse me, because at the end of the day, you do want to be able to grow, but you don't want to grow and then look back at your books and find out, I'm not making enough money. So
Yes.
it's not just about the income taxes. If you want to stay financially stable, you have to understand the money of your business.
Exactly. And a lot of people think, I'm just going to go and I'm going to start this business, and this business is going to flourish. And I'm telling you, I've sold a couple of things and it's looking good. This is great for me. But again, at the end of the day, if you're not conformed to what you're supposed to be doing within your business, that business will not flourish.
It's not going to flourish. One thing we learned from COVID is that opportunities come where people, if they seize it and take advantage of it, can make astronomical amounts of money, right? So let's say, for example, whose podcast studio is this?
Who does what?
Whose podcast studio is this?
This is my son's podcast studio.
And what's his name?
Saquon.
Okay. So we might find that maybe Kathy is really good at home at knitting. She doesn't have what it takes to be able to share that skill. Right. But she knows that if she could do something where she could share it with people, that she could bring in XYZ income. She's done the research and she sees it. So now Saquon has this podcast studio.
Yes.
So then they partner, and as a result of whoever, I said the lady name was the first lady, I forgot, but now her business is taking off. She's recommending
Kathy's business is taking off.
Kathy's business is taking off. How did you do it? Oh, I teamed up with Saquon. And so now Saquon is getting more inquiries, and he's getting more people who want to come in and do different podcasts or different trainings. And so he says, okay, well, I have this podcast studio here. I have some extra room on the side. I can expand. Now, the thing with Saquon and with Kathy, they have to know the financials of their business. It's one thing for 15 people to come and hit them in the month of March. But if they don't know the season and the flows, and when people are more apt to come out and more apt to jumpstart because it's the beginning of the year, then they're not going to know how to budget their money to be able to sustain them. They had this growth spurt and it was great and wonderful, but if they don't understand how people are buying in their industry, then they're not going to be able to balance themselves throughout. So that's another key thing. You have to understand when the money comes in and know how to sustain yourself throughout the year. And so, shameless plug, Saquon has an amazing podcast studio.
So he does. He works really, really hard. And he's one of our newcomers. He's one of our new babies to the small entrepreneur world.
Yes.
So we want to make sure, that's why I said we want to make sure that even if we're senior, I don't call myself a senior in this because I'm still every day
learning.
Every day I'm learning, and I'm intrigued to learn so that way I can provide better services for my clients. So Saquon is like one of my clients. So that's great. And one thing I told him is about the flow charts. People don't use those anymore. They think that's outdated, but it's not.
Yeah.
Because he needs to see the peaks, the highs, the lows, when it was relevant for him to be open, and maybe when it's relevant for him to be closed.
Yes.
Because all of these things, turning the lights on, all these things cost money.
They cost money.
So no one's going to love your business as much as you. When you're birthing something, you have to, you're going to love it. And no one's going to love it that way unless you allow them to.
Exactly.
But the point that I made to Saquon is, right now, soon as you get the key, that's when you had to go into preparation way before you got the key.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
A lot of people get the key, the knowledge, and then they say, well, I'm going to move forward and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that and it's going to be great. I urged them to slow down.
Yes.
I urged them to slow down because if you have 5 different entities working under one umbrella, something is going to get left behind.
That is true.
So you have to prioritize what it is you're doing first.
Now listen, it's funny you mentioned that because I was one who said, "Oh yes, I could do this, I could do this, I could do this, I could do that."
Me too.
Nothing's going to get left behind. I can handle it all.
Oh no.
So not true.
So not true.
So not true.
So not true. that umbrellaing of businesses, because I said, whoa, my first year out, this was named something else, and it didn't work. But I said, you know what, God, that's fine. So we went ahead and we revamped and we came back stronger, and we became the Business Suites of Brass Mill. And now here we are. We're umbrellaing. In a few months we'll be the campus of Brass Mill.
All right.
So there goes that umbrella. And so that one thing turned into another thing, But because I have a great team of people that work along with me, it keeps me well grounded. But those who are just starting their business, take that time to do that baby stepping.
Yeah.
Get yourself a great team. I don't know of any billionaire that started all by himself and made it all by himself without some type of support.
You have to have it. It is so critical. It is so critical. And one thing I will say is this: a lot of time, and I know this it kind of has something to do with your financial foundation, because if you are looking for your home circle, your cousins you hang out with, your homegirl you hang out with, if you are looking for them to be a part of that team, most of the time,
okay, let's talk facts here, because I know where we're going with that.
Most of the time it's not going to work.
I've been there where it hasn't worked.
It is not going to work. And as it relates to your finances, they are going to, and I'm going to say it.
Come say it. That's fine.
Drain the finances. There's a saying that your net worth can be determined by the closest 5 people that you hang out with. If you are the biggest fish in your pond, I urge you to get out of that pond.
Get out of it. Stay out of it. And I'm so glad you brought that up tonight, because I can come from a testimony with that. My first company, my real first company was Woody Ambitions LLC. And I remember I always wanted to have a family run and operated business. And it was a lot of family that worked for me. But once you are the biggest fish in that pond, and you're starting to be, you know how you throw the little guppy fish in, and then the big fish has all the babies, and then they start eating.
Yes.
And feeding off of their own little ones.
Yes.
Well, that's kind of like what happened, and it wasn't all bad though.
Right.
I don't want to put that out there. It wasn't all bad. It was
not.
Just that it was time for me to revamp and grow in a different way. And so, if you have that little round circle, and in that circle are people that don't know the worth of what goes on in everything that you do. It's time for you to move.
You have to, and look at it this way, because I know somebody may say, well, that's not fair for them to say, or my cousin is doing this, or my sister is helping with that. What you have to understand, we're not saying that it's necessarily a bad thing. What we're saying is you have to first, and I think I heard it earlier today, put the mask on yourself. You have to first develop.
You have to develop
yourself first, because what's going to happen is, as you develop and grow and learn how to be financially stable, yes, then you can bring along, your cousin or your sister, and increase your family circle, so that you can then bring that knowledge back to them. But if you stay, and again, I am speaking from personal experience.
This is all personal. This
experience.
It has nothing to do with what anyone else is doing.
Exactly.
This is our own testimony.
This is my own testimony.
What we've gone through. Yes.
Until I got to the point where I could step away from my family circle learn a little bit more,
Mhm.
grow a little bit more, earn a little bit more, then I'm able to go back and now say I'm giving advice to them. I have a sister who wants to start a vending machine business. I'm going to have to connect you two together,
Absolutely.
because I
Absolutely.
feel even though I can offer her some knowledge and some support,
Right.
you would be better to help her, or someone else would be better to help her. You have to understand where your strengths and weaknesses are. And again,
Very
I
much
know
so.
the focus is financial, but it all comes down to finances.
Everything in the realm and the spectrum of being an entrepreneur comes down to finance.
It comes back to finance.
It all comes back to finance. And again, I don't want anyone to take from this session, from this episode, and say, oh, that wasn't fair. They're talking about, no, I've always wanted a family run and operated business. But one thing I can tell you, I had to gain the knowledge and the success first before I could start feeding them. Yes, I wanted my family to come along on this journey with me. But if the road is only meant for me to travel, allow me to travel that road. And then there are things called U-turns.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And we can make that U-turn and bring them all back with us. But what I can tell you is, again, I can't stress this enough. The baby that you birth is yours.
Yes.
You didn't birth that child, and you didn't birth that business for everyone else. You birthed that business for you.
Absolutely.
So you have to be in the forefront of it. One of the things that I dropped a couple nuggets just a couple weeks ago. The first thing about being successful within this entrepreneurship is changing your mindset. And I had to literally do a shift in my atmosphere to change that mindset. Second one is, I had to get those only quality people in my life.
Absolutely.
And that because you know what, I can tell you, Facebook pages, I have a following like ain't no tomorrow. Some of the people I know, some of the people I friended because of business.
Yeah.
All of those followers, okay, are they supporters?
That's a difference.
Are they buying into what you're selling?
Exactly.
If they're not buying into what you're selling, they're fans.
Yes.
They're fans.
Yes.
And at this tumultuous time in business, we need someone to purchase from us.
Yes.
We need those people that are going to bring that dollar out.
Yes.
And I'm not saying you can't have a fan club. I'm not saying that you can't have all these followers, but you need those followers to be supporters.
Yes.
And I want to say this, that it's not always a financial thing. It could be sharing what you're posting.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
It doesn't always have to, you come by, or you referrals.
Yes.
Refer someone, put those likes, put those loves, subscribe to what they're doing.
Yeah.
That also is monetary to us.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So when you're thinking about just being out there with those quality people, that quality support, you need that in order to grow.
Yes.
And that's what we want to do in our businesses. We want to grow.
We want to grow.
And the last thing we want to do is, soon as you open your mouth, you are now in the ring of contentment. You are now ready to go into everything. So make sure when you're out there and you're speaking about your business, you become the brand of
for your business
you are and what you're selling.
Yes.
Okay. You can't turn it on and turn it off. You can't be one person over here and be another person over here.
Yes.
Soon as you open your mouth, Brass Mill is who I'm representing. Okay. Witty Ambitions LLC, my party coordinating company. That's who I'm selling. The podcast studio of Brass Mill is who I'm selling.
Yes.
The entities of Delaware, the podcast studio of Delaware, the branchment of Delaware for Brass Mill. So be careful about taking on all of these different outlooks.
Yes. Yes.
Remember, soon as you open your mouth and you go to speak, you're selling your product, not yourself.
And that's the thing. A lot of people seem to miss that.
Yes,
and it comes back to that. You could have you can make the best cakes in the world. But if I see you out in Walmart and your fingernails are dirty,
well,
I'm going to just say it.
Well, that's
I don't want one of them cakes.
No, thank you. And that's a no and a no, thank you.
it's a 2 no's and a 2 no thank
2
you.
no's and a no thank you.
And a no
And,
thank
and
you.
that's what I'm saying. You know, one thing that I've been talking
That's
to.
a nugget.
That is a big nugget. Make sure you're representing your brand.
Exactly.
Make
it
sure
affects your money.
And it affects your money. I'm telling you right now, I can literally tell you through testimony. I've seen this happen in the last couple of months where people are coming back and they're like, you know what? So-and-so didn't buy this from me. Are they supporters or are they fans?
Yes.
Are you selling yourself or are you selling your brand?
Exactly.
Because every time I walk outside of this property, I am the business suites of Brass Mill.
Yeah.
So it is important for me to keep my conduct. It's important to me to keep my wording. It's important for me to keep, like you said, you see a lady that you get cakes from in Walmart and her fingernails are dirty. You're like, well, wait a minute here. And then I just said Sally. I just said Becky. I just said all these people over to her. And then she's walking around Walmart with a house coat on, some tissue up her nose. You're like, wait. I don't want that cake. So again, all these components tie into your financial status.
It does, and we're laughing about it.
It's
funny, but it's reality.
It is,
and it does affect your bottom line.
It
and
does.
People need to think about that. This is an amazing time. I don't know if anyone else can feel or sense the energy, but this is an amazing time for business growth, business development.
It is.
And all people have to do is align themselves properly and be a good student.
Listen, and the knowledge that you gain, don't be afraid to share it.
That's it.
Where I'm at this point right now. I got a phone call earlier today, and it was from someone, and what she was saying was, it's so hard out here. Everyone is so hungry, but yet everyone's so closed mouth. And I said to her, I said, you know what? I said, I have experienced that. You know, I have experienced where I want to learn from other people and they only will take you but so far.
Right.
Keep taking people as far as we can take them so that way we can grow this entrepreneurship into what every reward can be given.
Yeah.
I have a mentor and he didn't just take me to show me what business was. He walked me through business, and I can still call him today and say, hey, I think I might have done X, Y, and Z. Yeah. Be that type of supporter and that type of friend, that type of sister, that type of educator to where you want the person to grow to the next level. Because everyone needs some type of financial stability. Everyone needs it. Okay. We have kids out here. The little girl that just does the slime, 11 years old, billionaire, because she got bored one day and her mom said, listen, let her make something so I can go over here and do this work. Yeah. You know, but they still taught her. And now she's teaching everyone else.
I have my granddaughter. She is, she'll probably, those who know me well. I have like the shortest memory in the world. I have so many pieces of note paper and notebooks with notes.
I'm the sticky queen.
Yes.
I'm the sticky queen.
My granddaughter is maybe 7. And when I tell you, she is an entrepreneur already.
That's amazing. That start them young, grow them up into it.
And the thing is, she comes up with her own ideas.
That is amazing. Keep coaching
She'll
her.
find little things around the house. Say, Grandma, you want this? Grandma, you want that? Somebody gave me this. Somebody gave me that. She'll take it outside. And I'm like, girl, what are you doing with this stuff? She said, I'm about to have a yard sale.
Oh, yeah.
Listen, I got to buy back my own stuff, but okay.
Listen, it's feasible.
I paid for it.
You paid for it.
Yes. She got money.
She's starting off.
You know those little sets where you buy for the little girls and they can make like little charm bracelets and things like that. She's, Grandma, you want a bracelet?
Yeah, but
she's a great salesperson too.
I was gonna say, but it's just gonna cost you.
Grandma, you want a bracelet?
And Angela on here says, yes, I always share any knowledge I gain.
Yes.
It's enough room at the table. Yes, it is, Angela. It's enough room at the table for all of us to eat. And that's one of the things, Angela, that I really, really, really pride myself on. I've known Kim for almost a year now, and in any entity that she's ever called and asked for anything, I'm always, I want to be Angela, I want to be that I am.
Yeah.
I want to be the I have the answer.
Yes.
You know, and a lot of women, and I want to pose something out here to the women.
Yeah.
We need to stop all this.
We need to
We need to stop all this because
shenanigans.
everybody, if you eating over there, you eating over there, you eating over. Just imagine Angela, what Angela said, if we bring it all to the table.
Bring it all to the table. We'd all get stuffed.
We would all get, and you know, I don't want to take it out of room here. But even at the Last Supper, they brought it all to the table.
And this is a thing.
They brought it all to the table.
And even keeping with
Thank
the
you, Angela, for that.
Foundation, your business feeds my business,
Absolutely.
my business feeds her business. We have to maintain that connection.
We have to, and ladies, it's not she has more than me, she looks better than me, she's this more than me. It's just about the camaraderie that we're bringing to each other.
Yes.
It's time for us to win.
Yes.
We just, in 10 years we've had Black president, and now what?
The Supreme Court.
Ma'am. In 10 years.
Blew me away completely.
Blew me away. So just imagine what we've done, what the history we've made in 10 years. Just imagine if we were all to get together and collaborate, how much more?
Yeah.
How much more? The energy is here.
It is here. And then
it's our time. This is our season.
And not just that, let's not even forget the biggest factor is that our dollar does not circulate as much as it should.
Absolutely.
In our communities. However, if we start to circulate more in our communities, things would definitely change. And that's taking you on a different level. But what I want to make sure I impress upon you is that when we have these, I'm gonna put it into a different context. When we have these conferences and when we have these different events, if you can't be a vendor, encourage somebody else to be a vendor.
Again.
And support the vendors in the room.
Share. Listen, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, share other people's posts. You know, if you start I try to start my days with encouraging posts.
Yes.
But throughout the day, as people are sending me things, it's not costing me nothing to
share.
Share it. Because if it's not for you, it may be for the next person.
Exactly. And what it's going to do is we're talking about financial foundations and shoring those up and make sure you're reaching your purpose. Yes. That's going to start to infuse money into someone else's business, someone else's vision, someone else's purpose, and then that will allow them to grow, to scale, accomplish the goal that they set out to do. It's all like we started out saying in the beginning, we're not in this alone. We have to support one another. I can give millions of tips on how to do your taxes. And I want to make sure I remember to share a tip about giving.
Okay.
Business giving. But I can give all kinds of tips. But if at the end of the day, we aren't supporting one another and bringing that money into the business, then those tips don't help. And so speaking about the giving.
Yes, let's talk about the giving.
Let's talk
about giving from the business.
Giving from the business aspect
of it, yes.
I challenge you all to revisit your business plan, your business model. Do you have a portion in there that accounts for giving?
Yes.
Some people, and as it relates to taxes, you can change how much you owe in taxes based on how much you've given.
That's right.
So that's one reason to give.
And there's plenty of places to give.
There are plenty of places to give. There are plenty of places.
And let me ask you, this is in the name of your business.
In the name of
because
your business.
That was one of the things that I had to learn too.
Mm-hmm.
As I tithe at my church, I once Brass Mill got to a certain entity, I started tithing for my business.
Yes.
And I started giving different things to different other organizations and things like that. Mm-hmm. Now, when we give to different organizations, I know tithing to our churches and things, but when we give to different organizations, we're supposed to add those things in as well, correct?
Yes. Okay. Yes. And the thing for those of us who I'm saying for those of us who are in ministry,
Yes.
Look, I'm speaking that right now,
Yes,
right?
speak it,
So,
speak it.
for those of us who are in ministry, you know, we believe according to the Word of God that we are to give. So, does your business reflect that?
Does your business
Does your
reflect that?
reflect the giving?
Because without that giving process, I'm trying to tell you, as you make more, your tithe should be a part of your business. Tithing should be a part of the business plan right then and there.
Yes, it
now
should
I
be.
can't tell you in the beginning, I'm just being honest, in the beginning when Brass Mill was at a low income bracket, then that couldn't happen.
Right.
So I'm not saying just because you got a business right now, just go tithe right now for your business. But once you hit a certain margin, okay, you're to bring all to the table.
Yes.
Okay, and that tithing will replenish you, and it'll keep you covered. And I want to give that straight testimony, because I think right before COVID came, right before COVID came, I had just started tithing for the business suites of Brass Mill. And guess what? We did not have to close our doors throughout the whole duration of this COVID virus that came from nowhere. Not near one of my employees was laid off.
Yes.
Not near one of their pays was deducted, or nobody was demoted. So I correlate that with the fact of the matter. I was thankful for giving those tithes.
Yes.
And even though when things got tight, I still made sure I gave those tithes. And I can tell you that the blessing was the simple fact of the matter that we did not have to close any doors.
Exactly.
And I'm telling you, and she said, speak on it, girl. Yes, those of us who are in ministry, Jeremiah 29:11. Jeremiah 29:11. I'm talking about it. I'm giving testimony on it. The business suites of Brass Mill did not have to close. We were still vibrant. We were still working for our clients. I mean, and everything. And I contribute all of that to your last statement about making sure that you're giving.
Yes.
And like I said, it just wasn't the church that we were giving to. We had different organizations.
And that's the thing. There are different organizations that you can give to.
Yeah, that the obedience.
Yes.
The obedience and the sacrifices that we make. So now that the business suites of Brass Mill, we're on the map. It is my due diligence to make sure. One of my mission is to bring informative information to the community. But not only that, bring that dollar back to that
bring
community.
It back into the community.
Okay. And that's what we do. That's
our charge.
That is what we're supposed to do.
We can't complain about our communities and our neighborhoods.
That's right.
If we are building our finances but not bringing that money back in. And the thing is, like you said, you don't have to, in your giving, when we talk about a balanced financial foundation in alignment with your purpose, you don't have to give to the one organization that you're always giving to. I just found out from my wealth mentor, Lexi, that, you know, there are other avenues for giving that you can pick and choose what organizations you're going to give the money to.
I literally rotate.
Yeah.
In my business plan this year, and I encourage you to go back every 6 months and look at your business plan. Revisit it, because some of the things that you have in there may have worked for that moment, because no one saw COVID coming. So I had to revamp that. But another good thing, and this is a nugget for people as well, I literally rotate my giving circle besides my church. I rotate what I'm giving out in sponsorship.
Yeah.
I rotate what organizations I'm giving to, because as wealth comes to me, I want to make sure that I'm sharing it with everyone.
Yes.
There's nothing wrong with that. No. And there's nothing, and that could be one of the greatest reasons to revisit your business plan.
Exactly. And what people don't realize is that in your giving, my mom told me when I was born, my grandmother said that I squeezed my fist so tight I could make the eagle on the dollar bill scream. Right. So some people hold on to their finances so tight, or their money so tight. They got that $5,000 contract, and they just, you know, I'm not sharing. I'm not taking on no new assistant to help me. And I'm only speaking from personal experience.
This is all personal. This is all
So
personal experience.
I'm not tithing, I'm not doing this, that, and the third. But the thing is, when you are holding so tight, there's no room to receive.
There's no room to receive.
So it is the cheerful giver,
yes,
who is able to cheerfully receive. And I'm not saying just give so you can get, but it's a flow.
It has to be. Listen,
it's a flow.
It has to be that ventil has to be open to where that vent can open and close. Because there are times where you're going to have to close that vent down.
Yes.
Through COVID, there was times people had to close down, and a lot of people lost a lot of things.
They
and
did.
I don't want to seem braggadocious over here that Brass Mill made it through that time period. We were just blessed.
Yes.
We were just blessed.
Yes.
And as we go to finish up here, I want to talk about the new blessing that came upon you, because I've been following you, and I was so, and I'm not going to throw it out there. I'm going to let you throw it out there, because I said, well, wait a minute, this is something different. Well, wait a minute, God, what we doing here? So before we close out tonight, I want people to talk about another alignment to your purpose that you're adding.
So, I had the opportunity to really look back at where I have been as an entrepreneur,
yes,
and where I'm going as an entrepreneur.
Yes.
And as I rebuild my relationship with God, He's shown me that the places that I've been in entrepreneurship
Yes.
from a very young age have led me to this next phase in my life, where I am going to be bringing all of that knowledge
Wow.
to ministry. And by that, I mean, I'm going to start working with people in ministry to help bring more riches, more wealth into those ministries, so that they can continue to do the work of building the kingdom. I'm gonna share, I'm a paraphrase because I don't know it exactly, but there's a passage in the Bible that talks about a woman who her husband had died, and she had a son, and she didn't have any money. They didn't have any food. And then she went to one of the men who studied under Paul. And he told her to gather all the vessels that she could,
all of them,
and go home and pour oil into the vessels. And for maybe about a week, I had heard that story about 4 or 5 different times from 4 or 5 different sources. And I said, Lord, what are you trying to tell me? And he said, so many times you've asked for financial breakthrough. You've asked for just a little bit of extra money for this, and you've asked for that. You have the blessing. I've blessed you with an amazing ability. You have to pour that blessing into the vessel. So in that story, in the conclusion, the lady poured oil as long as there was a vessel. But as soon as her son said, we have no more vessels, she connected with that, believed that, and the blessing stopped. So God is showing me that you can create the vessels to pour the blessing.
Yes, you can.
You can't get caught up in somebody saying, oh, well, they closed that place over there. You connect with that closing, your blessing stop. You stop. You're not doing anything else.
That's right.
But
That's right.
If you believe that God has blessed you with the blessing, you just put it into another vessel. So I am creating a series called Pour the Blessing into the vessel, and I'm really just going to work with people to recognize opportunities in ministry where they can continue to keep the blessing flowing, the financial blessing flowing, making sure that they are set up on a firm financial foundation, using principles of the Bible to make sure that as they grow wealth, they are doing it in a way that God would have them to do.
That's the only way.
That's the only way.
And let me tell you something. I'm just going to chime in here. People get that cup thing misconstrued. Okay. that filter of that cup, that pouring of that cup,
Mhm.
it wasn't meant for you. It was
Mhm.
meant to pour into others.
And to pour into
So a lot of
others.
people get that cup thing twisted.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
So and in that, you want to make sure that you're not burning out yourself.
Yes.
You're not burning out your own oils.
Yes.
So you want to keep a little bit of that to
Mhm.
you for you.
Mhm.
But please, if you are filling a cup, remember that cup isn't just for you.
No.
That cup is to be poured into others.
Yes.
So as we take the steps in entrepreneurship and we gain the knowledge, and I think what you're doing is super amazing. And if there's ever a time that I can join the coalition, you know I'm already
Yes.
in. Being as though I just stepped into ministry. We spoke about that off camera.
Mhm.
I just literally stepped into really realmed into ministry myself within the preaching and the teaching and all those great things.
Mhm.
But one thing that I can tell you is I have not forgotten where I've come from.
Yes.
And I have not forgotten that I too carry a cup. And when you carry that cup, make sure, and we've talked about it tonight, these are our own views,
Mhm.
our own opinions.
Mhm.
So this is not something that you're going to go find scripted. We're not trademarking this thing.
No.
This is just talking about our own personal.
Our own
So
experience.
as tonight, as you are walking in your purpose and you were created with a purpose, because everyone is,
Mhm.
remember, once you find that purpose, and they say strike it rich in it, because I haven't struck it rich in it yet, and I'm not looking to do that. But remember, once you get that cup
Mhm.
and it's full,
Mhm.
remember to pour that blessing out
Pour it
onto
out.
others.
Pour it out.
Because I'm gonna tell you what, as it pours and the seed, and you're watering those seeds,
Mhm.
and the rain starts, guess
Mhm.
what happens? That cup gets filled
It
again.
gets refilled.
It gets refilled, and
crops come in.
And crops come in, and now you have more. And now you're looking like, I'm just gonna throw it out there. Now you're looking like you're the little red hen, and now you processing all this,
Mhm.
and more and more and more and more.
Mhm.
And that's what I want for us as a whole.
Yes.
That's what I want for us as the individual.
Mhm.
That's what I want for us of culture, creed, and generation. I want to make sure that we are connecting with one another, and that we're constantly replenishing the cup.
Yes.
And and that is within purpose,
Mhm.
within financial purpose, within just ministry,
Yes.
within just in the blessings,
Yes.
and knowing where they come from.
Knowing where they come from.
Knowing where your blessing come from.
Thank you, Jesus.
Okay, because if you're out there and you think, well, I'm doing this all by myself, and I'm getting it here and I'm getting it there, sir, please sit down. Please
Yes.
ma'am, you take 10 steps to the left, because there's a whole seat sitting there waiting for you, because that's not how this thing goes.
No, it is not.
So tonight we have threw out so many nuggets to you. Miss Kimberly Branch is also a part of our business suites at Brass Mill, and I'm quite sure if you guys want to set up an appointment with her, she uses the business suites at Brass Mill.
She just had two clients
over there, and we want to throw that out to you as well.
Yes.
People that are viewing, if you need a place to grow and you
Mhm.
want to start your small business, and you're looking for that hub, that family-oriented hub,
Mhm.
that support team, come on out to 1200 Brass Mill. We have plenty of good room.
Mhm.
We're opening up our new executive suites.
Yes.
We have a great things going on in there. So if you're just out there and you're looking, if you just want advice from myself or from Kim or from people that we know, because we network with a lot of people. And we're not closed mouth. We want to share that with you.
Mhm.
So tonight we dropped a lot of good jewels on you about being financially balanced and how to walk in your financially balanced state. But one thing, don't forget to do those taxes.
Yes.
It's important. If you don't know how and you don't know what, give Kim a call. Give us a call here at Brass Mill. We will forward you over to her.
Yes.
We also have my partner who does taxes as well. We will forward you over to him or her. Listen, we're not fighting for this. We just want you guys to be healthy and well, and join us at the table, because we have plenty here for you to have.
Yes.
So tonight we want to thank you again, Miss Kimberly.
Thank
it was
you
a
for
great show. I'm sure she'll be back with more nuggets, more knowledge. We're going to try to bring her back every couple of months, just to make sure that you're staying in the realm of your business plan, and that you're looking over things to make sure it's right. Yes. So thank you guys, and have a great night. Everybody enjoy the wonderful weather. Remember, Good Friday's next Friday, and Easter's the following Sunday. So make sure you gather your family and get all the growth and knowledge that you need through the blessings that we're going to share and have been shared. Thank you, and good night.
Good night.